out a little bit more. We are live. So, hello, everybody. All 0 of you currently. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
This is the inaugural Paranormal Stories.
Yeah.
Something that we've been talking about doing for a little while and been interested in because Kaylee especially is into this kind of stuff.
I am.
I'm into this when it comes to like movies and whatnot, but not so much as in real life. But I mean, I'm still fascinated by it. I still think it's cool to talk about it, and obviously, I like seeing movies based on this stuff.
Right.
But am I a believer? Not really. Not really. And I'll give you guys a reason why in a minute, but we'll let a few people filter in.
Don't look at that
really quick.
That's my research. Don't look at any of it. Don't look at any of it. You can close all of those things.
Jesus.
I forgot I left them open on this computer.
Close them all?
Close all of it.
Oh,
Just close all of it.
Okay, so you got it already?
I do. I have everything that I need on my phone.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just left all that open.
That's fine.
The whole thing was supposed to be a surprise.
I didn't read any of it. My goodness, calm down. All's gonna be well. So, what is he? Oh, this is that. And how's everyone doing tonight? My first time in live chat. Well, hello.
Hello.
So, well, you are not missing much. Just kidding. I think. Maybe not. So before we get into it, let's look to see if there's any news. Well, one of the things that I've definitely been seeing when it comes to the news is the first reactions to Hellraiser, the new David Bruckner film that's coming to Hulu October 7th. I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So it got a surprise screening at Fantastic Fest a few days ago. And the reactions have been overwhelmingly positive. So that's, it is what it is. You're never going to know until you see it for yourself. But I'm expecting to love it just because I love Bruckner and I'm a fan of the Hellraiser franchise as a whole outside of Hellworld. So I think it would be shocking to me if I didn't like it. So this is nothing of news to me, but it's still good to see. I mean, even if everyone hates it and you love it, it doesn't really matter, except for you'll never get a sequel.
Yeah,
if everybody hates it. So if you love it, you do want other people to like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hellraiser. What do you think? You think it's going to live up to the hype?
100%.
Yeah.
I think it will be.
What's up, Jake? What's up, Punk Man?
Christina.
Man. And it's been a great year for horror. I agree. And we're not even in October yet. We are 4 hours away from October. So we're getting there. And we still definitely got a lot left. So reportedly 7 hours ago from Bloody Disgusting, the Crow reboot starring Bill Skarsgård has reportedly wrapped production.
Whoa.
So that looks like it's actually happening.
That's pretty exciting.
We had a Crow movie that was supposed to be happening 100 times. I think most notably and most recently, it was Jason Momoa that was supposed to play the Crow. But I'm pretty sure that has fallen through since the Skarsgård one. I'll tell you, man, Bill Skarsgård is really cranking them out right now after obviously the success of It.
Yeah,
he's really getting these things, and we just found out that he is supposed to have been cast as Nosferatu in the upcoming Robert Eggers film. That's conflicting data and conflicting information from what I just heard recently, that Willem Dafoe was supposed to be playing Nosferatu. which I found kind of interesting because Willem Dafoe does play Nosferatu already in Shadow of the Vampire with John Malkovich. And obviously he plays Max Schreck, who played Nosferatu, but he's already donned the Nosferatu costume outfit and really already embraced that role. So that would be pretty interesting for him to reprise that role. But yeah, as far as this reads, for the past few years, Robert Eggers has been planning to direct a new take on Nosferatu starring Anya Taylor-Joy, and it looks like that project is finally coming to life. Well, a bit different iteration of the project, at least. Deadline reports that Bill Skarsgård and Lily Rose Depp have come on board the ship, with Robert Eggers planning to make Nosferatu his next movie for Focus Features. Bill Skarsgård will reportedly play Nosferatu, Count Orlok, in the film. That's, great casting. As for Anya Taylor-Joy, it seems she's off the project. Now, this is devastating. This is absolutely devastating. Of course, that's the person I want in the film the most. So that is a huge shame. I'm assuming Deadline reports indicates in the new reimagining, the pick is a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman. So yeah, as far as this is reading, Lily Rose Depp will be replacing Anya Taylor-Joy. And let me tell you right now, there is no replacing Anya Taylor-Joy. So good luck with that.
I really would love to see Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu. I think it's kind of like Anya Taylor-Joy and like Mia Goth. He has such a good look for horror movies because he has such a unique face.
Yeah.
And he can play, so many different types of characters because of that. So,
Isn't she filming Mad Max or whatever? Yeah. As far as I'm aware, she is currently filming Furiosa, the Mad Max Fury Road prequel, where she plays Charlize Theron's character Furiosa in a younger role. Probably obviously see how she lost her arm and all that stuff. But I would watch Anya Taylor-Joy paint a wall. So yeah, I'm on board for whatever she does. But I just, man, it is a shame to find out that she has left this project because she was the only one attached forever. And now it looks, now as far as Johnny Depp's daughter goes, she's fine. She's very pretty. I think that the acting I've seen from her, I want to say all I've really ever seen her in is like the Kevin Smith movies. Like Yoga Hosers and Tusk. I think maybe I've seen her in another thing, but I'm completely blanking on it at the moment. But have you seen her in anything?
I have, but I'm also kind of blanking at the moment as well. So,
well, she has been in. Let's see. She is currently in. Oh, I've seen The King. Okay, I saw that. Voyagers, Crisis, The King, Savage, Faithful, Yoga Hosers, and Tusk. Yeah. So yeah, I've only ever seen The King. So I can't really talk too much about her acting, but she's got the look. Now, whether or not that matters. You can be as pretty as you want, but if you suck at acting, who cares? But anyways, let's see. Holy Driver, hello. I don't believe in ghosts, but there are demons. Okay. Isn't she filming Mad Max? Yep. Hey, guys, just dodged another hurricane here in South Florida. Ooh.
Guillermo, my family is in Florida, and they just had the hurricane as well, obviously. I hope everything's okay with where you are. I know there's a lot of damage and power's out for a ton of people down there. So, no fun.
Apparently, Sam Raimi is directing a remake of Magic. Yeah, we just watched Magic, and I did see that news report that he's going to be doing it. Now, I always take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt. The amount of times that I've had things announced that this person's doing this thing or whatever oh my God, it would fill my entire wall of movies that never existed. Every movie you see back here is missing because of all the stories I've heard of movies that are supposed to have been made that never are. So it's super annoying. Sci-Fi airing a massive Child's Play franchise and Chucky TV series marathon all weekend. We're getting real close.
Super close.
To Child's Play, Chucky season 2.
So excited.
Yeah.
So excited.
So we're up to about 18 people. So I'm just letting kind of everyone come in. I'd like to get it somewhere, maybe 25 or so, and then we're going to start this. So we're at 20. There we go. We're getting pretty close. What? I drove through the forest in Cherry Springs State Park in Pennsylvania to shoot Night Sky. I'm not kidding. Just 10 miles into the woods, I drove right through a ghost. Are you sure you didn't just drive right through a human? And then, you're wanted for a hit and run? You might want to go check for a body.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like, man, this ghost has a lot of weight to it, and left all its ghost blood all over everywhere. My car. And
maybe we
Francis Grimp, don't ever call me that. Wow, Black & Decker's in the house. No damage to the car, so it was a kid.
So it was a kid.
It was a kid. It didn't do much damage. It just plopped right off the car. Just a real small kid.
A fetus.
What you're saying is the person you hit is now a ghost.
You made a ghost.
While I was driving, I made a ghost.
Maybe we could talk about what our history is with paranormal and kind of our viewpoints about things, so that people can maybe get an idea of where we're coming from. You go first.
It was your idea, and as I go first, okay. All
right, I'll go first.
No, it's fine.
No, I'll go first now.
No, maybe I want to go first
now.
Maybe
I want to go
first.
Is
that thing glow in the dark?
This?
No, that thing.
I don't think so.
No? It looked like at the edge. Okay, you go ahead.
Okay. I am a very strong agnostic. I was raised kind of as a Christian. My mom, I guess considered herself a Christian. So we went to church, and I, did youth group and was in the choir and all those things, but had a really big, rebellion during my preteen and teen years, and kind of transitioned into being more interested in earth-based spiritualities. I was really into the idea of Wicca and paganism. So I kind of started researching that and exploring it. And then I started getting into more of occult practices. I was really fascinated with the idea of joining a magical order of some type. I was looking into the Golden Dawn and all this stuff, but I ended up moving away from that line of thinking because I found that a lot of New Age type people who were, also drawn to mysticism and occultism were pretty spacey and out there. And I didn't like the idea that it could potentially impact my mental health in a negative way. But I've always been somebody who I want to believe. I want to believe in ghosts. I want to believe in aliens. I want to believe in all these weird things and cryptids and everything. And,
Just call her Fox.
Yeah, essentially. But I don't think that I'm so gullible that I would believe anything that somebody told me, Yeah. I as much as I like that idea, I don't want to be made into a fool, and I don't want to be tricked into something. So that's kind of where I am now. I don't currently practice any spirituality, but there was a big part of my life that was that was a big interest of mine. And so it still kind of is obviously a part of my personality and my interest in a way. But yeah, I guess that's the synopsis of everything.
Yeah.
I used to work at a New Age store in Florida. So I got to collect a lot of paraphernalia. Before I actually moved down here, when I was sorting through things, I had a lot more books than I brought, but I had a ton of spiritual books and books on tarot. And I had 20 plus tarot decks probably, and I think I parsed it down to just 3 or 4 that I really liked, but I haven't even touched a tarot deck in years now, so yeah.
Well, you'll have to read my how do you say that? Do a reading?
Do a reading for you?
Reading. I say read my palm or something. I don't know what I was going to say.
I don't know. Like, you'll have
read
to
my fortune.
read my.
How many horror shirts do you own? Not enough.
That's true.
Yeah,
not enough.
It clearly seems like that.
I know.
Since I seem to buy them all the damn time.
Yeah, we're always buying horror shirts when we're out,
and
we find cool ones.
Yeah. As far as my involvement with the paranormal goes, okay, so I'll give you guys 2 reasons why I'm the skeptic that I am, and by skeptic, I just outright don't believe anything. Number one, as a kid, my stepfather was very, very into supernatural occurrences, and he used to listen to Coast with Art Bell, and we would go to paranormal conferences, and we would see people talk that were abducted or whatever. And in doing so, we also went out looking for UFOs. We drove out to Area 51, or at least that gate, and then the mailbox and all that stuff. We also stayed in multiple haunted hotels, including the Queen Mary. We brought different kinds of equipment to try to see if we could find any readings, or if we could see anything. And at that time, I was very open. I was a kid. I was probably 12 to 14, 12 to 13, somewhere in that area. We did it for maybe about a year. And we would stay in, the most haunted rooms, very 1408 style. And we would ask questions. We brought Ouija boards. We brought, all the typical stuff, EMF meters, what have you. And as I said, I was super open to the idea of everything. I was very impressionable and susceptible to anything at that time, because I was a kid and I didn't really have an opinion formed quite yet. And throughout all of our time going and looking for stuff, I saw nothing of any sort that isn't explainable, other than just your mind playing tricks on you because you're scared and impressionable and you want to believe. So within my own experience, specifically looking for stuff in areas that are supposed to have paranormal activity going on in them, I saw nothing.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I also followed a guy named James Randi, who I found, online. And he's a guy who's had a foundation for many years. He's dead now, but he was a magician. He'd been working on this subject for most of his life. He went for about 40 plus years searching for the unexplainable, the paranormal. And he offered $1 million to anybody who could prove something that was unprovable, right? If anybody could prove that they were a psychic, or that they had a paranormal activity going on in their house or whatever. And he would come with a group of scientists, and they would investigate these occurrences. And for 40 plus years, the James Randi Foundation went around and investigated these, and always found them to be hoaxes, or just easily, provable type of things. And even had a television show back in the day where he covered these things. But yeah, he died with that $1 million in his pocket, because they went to every country, went everywhere, trying to prove anything.
Yeah.
And it was always just, a bunch of hullabaloo.
So if somebody had come forward and had won that $1 million, would you have been someone who believed that that was a real?
From James Randi, 100%.
Yeah. So there's a level of like you trust certain like authority figures to tell you that it is real, because like you're trusting that they're not bullshitting you essentially.
Sure. I mean, it has to come from a reliable source. And
Yeah.
I think that is always the most important. And the most reliable source is typically you, right? But like in science, the most unreliable source of information is anecdotal, right? You know, somebody's eyewitness testimony isn't good enough, right? You're not going to just convict someone off of eyewitness testimony and nothing else, right?
Yeah.
It's that can be manipulated, that can be seen, that can be biased, that can be whatever you want. So, you know, somebody saying, "Oh, I saw something," isn't really strong enough. But if you have a group of scientists and that they're there to try everything in their power to prove it wrong, and they can't, then I'm much, much more interested in listening to that viewpoint, other than just someone who woke up in the middle of the night and felt a presence or smelled an odor or thought they felt somebody in the corner of their eye when they're still in a, you know, half lucid sleep.
Yeah, the hypnagogic state.
Yes.
It's interesting too, because like a lot of, you know, the observer can have an effect on experiments. Like that's something that's been proven. So, you know, when you talk about like paranormal experiences, like I think the experiencer has as much of an impact on what's happening as maybe the phenomenon that they're witnessing, you know, depending on what it is. But so paranormal, like supernatural, that's a pretty broad umbrella,
Sure,
obviously. But there's some things, like I know you and I have had conversations about like extraterrestrials and the like just insane probability that there is definitely alien life in the universe.
Absolutely.
Right. So would you consider, so that's, you know, there might be other things that fall under that umbrella that you would be open to versus others?
I mean, the probability of alien life is almost a mathematical certainty in my eyes. I now, does it hit the level of being able to traverse the vast distance of space and the technology that it would take to get from point A to point B? And not only that, but also having the ability or the luck of finding us in that chasm of blackness and you know, infinite landscape. I mean, that's just it, right? You have to be able to locate the planet, the Goldilocks planet that has life on it. It also has to fall into the time period in which you currently reside in. Civilizations can come and go during millennia, right? So you can have a time and place where an advanced civilization existed, but it might have been 1 billion years ago. You might have missed that window of opportunity. And then there's the factor of space in general, and how gravity can affect time distortion. And as you see in something like Interstellar, there's planets where, you know, you land on the surface and one, you know, 7 minutes is like 10 years on the planet. So you might miss an entire civilization in just the 6 months it gets to, you know, it takes to get to that planet, if you ever even found them. And, you know, it's just such a massive improbability that you're going to locate that life.
Yeah.
You know? So do I think that there is life outside of this planet? 100%. I don't see any way that we can be the only living beings in space that's literally infinite, that has more planets than, you know, grains of sand on this planet. So yeah, there's no doubt life, but will we ever make contact, or are they a civilization? Are they microbes? You know, are they bacteria, or are they advanced civilization? Yeah, but so yeah, do I believe in aliens? Sure. Do I believe in that they come here all the time in spaceships and beam us up and put things in our ass and mutilate cows and leave messages in crops?
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's a lot of I was really, really interested in alien abduction stories for a long time. And, there's, I think, an equal amount of like kind of crazy, nonsensical stuff that you can look past, and then other things that are not as explainable, where you have like qualified psychologists and therapists and people that are interviewing abductees and talking to them, and all these different links and stories from people around the planet, and even like actual things, like stuff that's in them, like
Sure.
metal bits and things that are like, I mean, sure, of course you can say maybe they put it in them or something, but a lot of them can be pretty convincing, and it's definitely an interesting like just subject to look into.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most probable, I
Mhm.
find, that an alien race, because that's just another living being that's a more advanced, has more advanced technology.
Mhm.
So to me, that's well within the realm of probability. As far as ghosts and whatnot go,
Mhm.
I don't know what the probability of that is, or if what people are seeing is some kind of, you know, soft spot,
Mhm.
thin veil
Mhm.
between different dimensions.
Mhm.
If we do have dimensions that lay on top of one another, and you're seeing through to that other dimension just in certain areas from certain angles, kind of like in Terrified,
Yeah.
where this angle you can see it, this angle you can't.
So good.
If that's what it is, then of course it then stands to reason that you are haunting their house as well within their dimension, and you're the ghost that they're talking about on some live stream right now. Like, this chick is in my house who,
Yeah.
looks like this, and so on and so forth. So, but
Mhm.
I'm not somebody who ever thinks I know definitely, right?
Mhm.
I'm an agnostic for a reason, because I find atheists to be just as arrogant
Mhm.
about their belief system, that they're 100% that this is how it is, and that there's no other interpretation of it. And if you think that, then you're an idiot.
Mhm.
That just, to me, is just not a fair assessment of what's beyond.
Mhm.
Right? It's kind of like, I don't know,
Nobody.
and nor you do,
Yeah.
nor do you,
Yeah.
and our best guess is whatever. And
Yeah.
I've always just been like, we're gonna find out.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's like a very personal,
Or we won't.
or we won't. But it's a very personal experience, because everybody comes with all these different perspectives and things that build them into who they are, and that can limit how we interpret things. Yeah.
I want to say hi to Cecil from the horror show.
Hi.
Thank you for the advanced screening tickets to Smile.
Yeah.
And good luck with your upcoming film, Dylan's New Nightmare. Cecil is working on a film with the original actor who played Dylan in Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. And they're going to be shooting it this November. And it should release sometime in 2023, I would assume. So it's a fan film, and it is a direct sequel to A New Nightmare. So something to really look forward to.
Yeah, super
Cecil's
exciting.
put a lot of effort and time into this, and they were able to raise $40,000 for a fan film. And he's also got Dave McRae, who directed the fan film It's Me, Billy, the Black Christmas film, on YouTube. He's coming down to play Freddy. So really, really impressive, and big score for Cecil. So congratulations to him. And it was good seeing you as well, if you're even still here. Because I think you sent that message like 10 minutes ago, and you're like, I don't care what these guys have to stay.
He was like, bite.
About existentialism. But as it was. Anyways, so tell us if you're still in the house, Cecil. But yeah, look forward to that. My husband introduced me to James Randi's videos. He's awesome. I agree. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, and according to him, he's definitely no longer with us. as I always tell people, being an atheist is kind of the least rewarding version of belief, because you never get to tell anybody I told you so.
Yeah.
We have a percent chance of telling people I told you so in any other religion, but that one.
But yeah, that one.
No. There's just nothing. And I guess you just get to be right.
In death, in nothingness, in the void after existence. Yeah, I've never been an atheist, but I respect people that are.
Bring It On, Cheer or Die thoughts. The Bring It On Cheerleader franchise is going slasher. We watched about 10 minutes of it, and it felt like an Air Bud movie.
Oh my God.
And we shut it off, and that's an insult to Air Bud movies.
Oh, yes. Yeah, 100%.
Because I've seen all 5 Air Bud movies.
I haven't seen all 5.
You don't have...
I'm not a real fan.
No, you don't have 2 identical twin daughters who were really, really young and got obsessed with Air Bud Strikes Back, the volleyball movie that he did. And they called it Volleyball Doggy.
Volleyball Doggy.
Not Air Bud Strikes Back, but Volleyball Doggy.
Aww.
What you want to watch tonight, girls? Volleyball Doggy. Volleyball Doggy. Yep.
Those little angels.
The acting in that movie.
You tell me the dogs are
I'm going to tell you right now, it was better than the acting from one of the characters we saw tonight in a film we watched earlier.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. So, I don't know. Bring It On, Cheer or Die. I don't think we're gonna.
Any thoughts on The Munsters? Another movie we shut off after about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We do watch movies that we don't review on the channel because we never finish them, and I'm never going to be somebody who reviews a movie I didn't finish. So if I can't get through it, I don't deserve to talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like Rob Zombie he's just puttered out. He gave everything he had in his first 4 films. And then from there, I just have not been a fan of anything that he's done, and it's a big shame. Houdini always promised if there was an afterlife, he would find a way to communicate. That is true. He gave his wife a secret phrase that only she knew, and she extensively went to all sorts of mediums and psychics, looking for them to give her that sign that he gave her. She never told anybody what it was ever. It was something between them, and he told her, like, if anybody can find their way, it's
out
me.
Of death, it's
I'm
me.
Houdini, So yeah, that's another piece of information that's interesting. But one of my very favorite ghost stories of all time, mostly just because of the mania involved, is the Winchester Mystery House.
Yes, I love that so much. Yeah. It's super cool. And I haven't even seen the movie that they made on it, which I think you told me was not great. So, but the story itself is like super fascinating.
I'd be down to give Winchester another try.
Yeah.
I was just pretty underwhelmed with it, especially with like Jason Clarke and Helen Mirren and everybody who's involved, and the directors also are directors that I really like. So I was pretty let down by that movie, but I'm willing to give it another shot. But I don't think I'm going to love it. Let's say, can't say it's provable, but in the day I worked at hotel off and on for a year as construction, then night security, and I experienced a few things that only made sense over that amount of time.
Bangs and whispers when the place was empty and guests leaving in the middle of the night because of banging on their walls. Hotels seem like they're very often the place to be haunted. We have a town near us called Jerome, and there is a hotel that is supposedly the most haunted hotel in all of Arizona.
Yeah, Jerome Grand Hotel. That was an asylum.
It was an asylum and a hospital back in the day, and we have not stayed there because they book out like a year in advance to stay in any of the rooms. So,
and the woman who runs the front desk is a celebrity with the biggest channel and the most work I've ever seen put into a channel. There's this woman who works the front desk, and she was like plugging her YouTube channel to like everyone who was there. And she's like, yeah, I don't have many subscribers right now, but I'm really working on the channel. And we went out and we like looked it up, and her videos were so terrible.
They were rough.
And she had like 5 of them.
They were,
and 3 of them were in the last like couple days. And we were just like, holy shit, I would not be plugging this in at the
It was kind of a shame because like I was really excited to watch and like hear her stories, and that's what I thought it was going to be, and it just wasn't it. So I almost actually wanted to research Jerome for this, because our idea right now with this live stream that's going to be alternating Fridays is that we alternate with bringing some type of story or subject maybe to talk about. So this week is me, since I am the paranormal girl.
Yep.
And I almost did Jerome, but I changed it up a little bit, although I did still stick with Arizona.
Oh, cool.
So this is not a ghost story. This is a collection of stories about an area in southern Arizona, and it's about portals.
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 Okay.
Yes. So I found this article on the Tucson Weekly, and it is by a guy named Ronald Quinn.
Ronald Quinn.
Ronald Quinn.
Ronald Quinn.
Ronald?
How dare you take your father's car? All right.
He is a treasure hunter, or was a treasure hunter. He passed away in 2016 in Tucson. But he was like a legit treasure hunter. Like, so he and his brother found a treasure in like south of Tucson, which apparently consisted of 82 pounds of Spanish gold bullion.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to find like photos or like just anything more about that, because this story is in like all of the biographies that I could find on him, but I couldn't. But supposedly it was public. They found it in like 1984, and then he wrote about it, and it was published in a magazine called Treasure in like 1987. So as far as I can tell, it is true that they actually found treasure. But he's written in several magazines: Southern Arizona Trails, Treasure Search, Fate, Arizona Highways, and then he has 3 books that you can buy on Amazon. And they are Searching for Arizona's Buried Treasure, a 2-year odyssey.
Not plugging his books.
Well, just in case anyone's interested. So that's one. He's got a treasure hunting book about how he found this.
Yeah.
Mysterious Disappearances is another book. And then Little People is the 3rd book. And
like
that
Darby O'Gill and the Little People?
It's about like fairies.
Okay.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. The guy is apparently really into paranormal things and treasure hunting. So
all right,
I'm just gonna kind of read bits and pieces from the article, and you can tell me, because there's a bunch of stories. And I will preface this by saying this is entirely anecdotal. I did find another article from NASA.gov to maybe add some credence to, I guess, the idea that portals could exist.
Kaylee did her research.
I did.
We got articles from NASA.
Yes. I was like, what's the most believable, like, not company, but organization? And I don't know why I thought NASA.
It's not like some offshoot NASA that just has
NASA.
the same acronym.
Okay, technically it's a NASA-funded researcher. So it's not like
it's not
NASA
real
is like,
NASA.
but they fund him. So it's like they believe in what he's talking
It's more
about.
like NOSA.
No, it's NOSA. All right. A real-life twilight zone may exist in southeastern Arizona near the Mexican border. Deep in the mountains close to the Mexican border, a mysterious place exists where time is altered at random.
Is this Savage Land?
I know, right? That's what I thought. So this article was published in 2003.
Okay.
Just so you know, and it was written by Ron Quinn, like he wrote it.
Okay.
So he said, this fascinating journey into the unknown began in early 1956 and still remains an unsolved mystery to today. It all began during a 2-year adventure into southern Arizona in search of lost mines and hidden Spanish treasures. Among the rugged terrain bordering Mexico, my brother Chuck and I discovered a location where time itself is altered. This natural freak of nature lies deep within a region seldom visited by modern man. So he did not tell exactly where this location was, which when I was looking into this, it was kind of the same thing with his treasure hunting, where he like would tell close friends and if they bugged him enough. And then people have been like, oh, he drew me a map. Like I have his documents, but he never says the exact location of it. But it is in an area called Arivaca.
Why is he holding back this information?
I don't know. Because okay, well, actually, I do know. Some of
Okay.
this stuff, it could potentially be dangerous. So the idea is like, don't want a bunch of like drunk college kids going out there and
Then why tell
hurting
anybody
themselves.
anything anyway?
That's fair enough. But this is an unincorporated community in Pima County, Arizona. So we know the general area, right?
Okay.
So I really like this one. This is called Doorway to the Gods.
That was it?
No.
Oh.
That's just the intro to everything.
Oh, okay.
So he has a bunch of stories at this location.
Okay.
And this is one of the ones that I thought was really cool. So one day, as we were returning to Arivaca, we spotted an old truck parked beside the road with a flat tire. Not having a spare, the gentleman stood beside his vehicle trying to hitch a ride to the nearest service station. We picked him up and soon arrived at the Kinsley Ranch and gas station. After having the tire repaired, we returned John, an Indian, to his truck where we mounted the tire for him. John couldn't thank us enough, as not many white men had shown him such kindness. A month or so later at camp, we spotted a rider approaching and were surprised to see it was John. He told us he was working temporarily for a local ranch, checking the fence lines. While talking in general about the surrounding country, Chuck mentioned we were treasure hunting. As a boy, John said he heard many of the tales of lost mission gold and silver. He also believed some of the tales were true, as treasure was found in 1907 near Nogales. Later, John told us about a mysterious stone archway. Yeah.
There we go.
Roy told him we came across such a formation south of camp. John's first words were, "Did you walk through its opening?" Walt answered, "No, we noticed it while descending a slope but paid little attention to the oddity." John told us that around the 1800s, 3 Indians were hunting and upon returning to their village discovered a stone archway. Being in a jubilant mood, they began chasing one another through the opening in a playful manner. Moments later, one jumped through but never emerged on the opposite side.
This sounds like bullshit.
Fearing they had entered some sacred ground to the gods, the remaining 2 fled the scene. Arriving at the village, they told the medicine man how their friend had vanished before their eyes. As the story spread, others journeyed to the high plateau to gaze upon the stone structure. Rocks and other items were tossed through, but nothing occurred until an elderly woman approached. Tossing in a live rabbit, it suddenly vanished. The Indians backed off in fear and spread the story of this doorway to the gods as it came to be known.
Now we know how magicians get these things out of their hats.
Just
right through there into somebody's hat, and
exactly.
Yeah.
There's just one magician standing at that site at all times.
I mean, this reminds me of the short we made on TikTok.
Yeah, right? I know. That's what I was thinking.
And the book I was writing, The Doorway.
Yep. Okay, so it says John himself has been to the site on many occasions. The only time he witnessed anything strange was around 1948. A big storm had blown in, and the sky was filled with dark clouds in all directions. As he rode past the archway, he noticed the sky through its opening was blue. No clouds were visible. Dismounting, he walked cautiously toward the formation and peered through. The mountain on the other side hadn't changed, but the sky was clear. Looking around the corner of the structure, the sky was once again covered with dark clouds. Fear gripped him and he rode off. Some believe John was looking into another time period through the portal. We asked John if the story was indeed true, why hadn't it been investigated? He replied that only his people knew of the story, as it had never been mentioned outside the tribe. The only reason he told us was because we had shown him kindness while stranded beside the highway. Curious, we decided to make another trip to the remote site with Roy Purdy and Walter Fisher, 2 fellow treasure hunters who were camping with us. It's a rugged climb, and the tortuous, craggy mountains play no favorites. Enter their domain, make an error, and you'll be added to the list of injured or missing. This mysterious area is covered with windswept rock formations that dot the landscape. Searching further, we discovered an enormous deposit of geodes. The ground was littered with them. Some had broken open, revealing their crystal-lined interiors. As we approached the archway, the structure took on a menacing appearance. It stood beside a rocky slope and was perhaps 7 feet high by 5 feet in width. Its columns measured approximately 15 inches in diameter and were made of andesite.
Andesite?
Andesite.
The hell's that?
A type of rock.
Very specific.
Yeah. Chuck jokingly tossed several rocks through, but nothing happened. Next, I placed my arm in. Roy, the superstitious member of our foursome, said I was flirting with danger if the story was true. Knowing his nature towards the unknown, I decided to play a joke. I suddenly yelled like something was pulling me through. Jumping back, I began laughing as Roy cussed me out. By now, we were all close friends, so no offense was taken. So,
are you sure when they went through that there wasn't like little midgets that were on the moon?
Oh my gosh.
Or Mars, sorry. And we're doing the tall man's work.
It's just freaking phantasm.
Yeah. I think him and his friends drank a little too much and watched Phantasm.
Maybe. Let me just end this because it has one paragraph left. After several hours, we departed this interesting location carrying a number of geodes. I remember glancing back at this lonely part of the world, wondering if there was truly something within the area that could alter time at random. Was it just the archway itself, or were other unknown natural forces at play? So he has a bunch of these stories about this place, about this location. He even has a story where there's like they find remains of a Native American that are not as old as they should be. So they like start to speculate that maybe that's the Native American that jumped through in the story that this hitchhiker John told them.
So the guy that went missing when he went through the archway never showed up again?
That's the story from the hitchhiker.
Their relation to him was what?
They didn't know him at all.
Of course.
So the hitchhiker that they picked up was talking about something that happened in the distant past, like a story that had been passed down.
So they killed a guy.
Threw him through this archway.
And then they were like, it's an archway to another dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I really liked reading this article because so they talk about the geodes and how like there's a ton of rock formations, and they have a few stories where it's like they've hiked this area frequently, but they will occasionally come across things that they've like never seen before, like things that they wouldn't miss, right? So it's like kind of unexplainable because they're like a Denny's in the middle of the woods. Yeah. But I just thought that it was really interesting, and I really like the visual, of course, of like a stone archway in the middle of the woods, and like looking through.
Is it the middle of the woods?
It's on a plateau. Sorry, it's not in the woods, but it's on a plateau. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a mountain, an arid climate.
Ben says he saw a TikTok on this today. This specifically,
really?
This guy, this story. If that's true.
I want to see that.
I want to know the TikTok. So find the link.
Yeah.
And send it to us right now. We're talking about paranormal stories.
Yeah.
Real paranormal stories. And Kaylee's trying to make me a believer. And so far, not successful.
I'm not trying to make you a believer. I'm more like wanting to talk about like what if this was real.
Sure.
That's more what I think, especially with this story. As I said, I kind of tried to do research into it, but it is, just all I could find was basically this article of him talking about this location.
Kaylee, you should look into Bobby McKay's bar.
Okay.
Why don't you do that while I read a couple of stories from all y'all? Worst theater experience of all time. Teens stay at home and save your money versus ruining everyone else's good time. Oh no, Brett had a bad time. I'm assuming that was that Smile. What a shame.
That sucks.
Oh, by the way, guys, Smile is great. So heavy recommendation for us. Definitely go to the theater to see it. it is predictable. It is formulaic. It is something you've seen before, a la It Follows, or whatever. I know a lot of people are comparing it to Truth or Dare or something, but it is very effective. Has a great great themes, and an insanely effective film. Sound design is incredible. The camera work is great. The acting is great. Like heavy recommendation to go see Smile this weekend
100%
in theaters. So I'm just going to say that. So first thing I want to read here. Let's look at a few comments. I got back from it a couple hours ago. I really enjoyed it. Good job, Zach. See, Zach knows what's up. My uncle and aunt said that they used to live with a ghost, but he was friendly. Was his name Casper by chance? And would bring them a towel if they forgot one. Wow.
Yeah.
Some turn down service, man. Let me tell you, this is some 1408 mints on the pillow. It's 5 a.m. for me, and I'm sat listening to this while developing games instead of sleeping upstairs with my wife. Your poor wife.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a ghost up there keeping her company. Yeah.
Maybe.
You never know.
Maybe.
What are y'all's thoughts on SOV movies? They're garbage, but they can be fun. I mean, it's SOV is shot on video. I don't think you've ever seen an SOV
I don't think
film.
I have.
I haven't seen a lot of them. I've seen Boarding House, of course. I've seen stuff like that, and I don't know. They're like exploitation films, if you will. They're just like schlock that was filmed directly onto like video cassette tapes and then released to home video. But some people are fanatics over them. There's a big subculture of people who are really into SOV films. You can check out the podcast. It's like SOBs who love SOVs. Slade Shepard and Rebecca Reinhardt run that. I think they actually even do it on my old podcast in the Micah Madness.
Oh.
I think it's something that they did, but anyways.
Okay.
And do you guys watch Westworld, or I love sci-fi?
Yeah, I love sci-fi too.
I watched season 1.
I've watched a couple seasons of it.
I was really into
down
it to get back into it, but yeah, I'll watch anything sci-fi. Sci-fi fantasy is my second favorite subgenre or genre outside of horror for sure, and then action. So like horror, sci-fi, fantasy, action are like the 3 or 4 top tier genres for me for sure. Do we like metal music? Yes, we do. That's mostly what we listen to. At least they found something, unlike Geraldo. I don't know why my brain was like, when I see words like that have a G and I'm supposed to pronounce it a H, I know what that says, but my brain's like Geraldo. And then I'm like, don't say it. Don't make yourself sound like an idiot. Geraldo. Yeah. When he opened up Al Capone's vault. They parodied that in Weird Al Yankovic's UHF. When they look through Al Capone's glove box and he finds road maps. That's one of my favorite scenes. And Geraldo famously did a live show where they opened up Al Capone's safe, and there was nothing, literally nothing inside. And they even make reference of it in Titanic. He's like, the same thing happened to Geraldo, and his career never recovered. Yeah. So, it's that I think this is why reality TV is staged.
Right.
Because sometimes you open up the safe and there's nothing inside, and it ruins the whole thing.
These guys that I was talking about, Ron Quinn and such, the treasure hunters are like, it's a big thing. Like, there's a lot of people that are like really into the idea of treasure hunting, which I think is fascinating because obviously, like, I think anyone could see the allure of it. Like, you could just find treasure and be rich and feel accomplished and everything, but it's also really dangerous.
Sure. So, I mean, look at Indiana Jones. That shit's super dangerous. Or Nathan Drake.
Oh my God, Nathan
Oh my
Drake.
God. The amount of
swinging from
shenanigans that
freaking
guy gets up to.
from cliff faces.
He's got the strongest hands that ever were.
He does.
Yeah. Am I telling my age by pointing out Geraldo? Am I telling my age by know what you're talking about? I guess so. Are you around the same age as me? Kaylee, your top is beautiful.
Thank you. I thought it was like mystical looking for today.
We were both trying to fit the theme with ghostly stuff. Why those ghost shows are obviously fake. You're telling me every single place you ever go, you find a ghost. Yeah. I mean, we watched the Jerome episode of
Ghost Hunters.
Or
Ghost Adventures. I think it's Ghost Adventures. With Zach Bagans. Zach Bacon, as we call him in our house now.
Frodo and Bilbo's distant relative, Zach Baggins.
Yeah, Zach Baggins. And it was a very not great episode. Like, I'm all about ghost hunting. I think it's cool, and I would love to see like some people do it legitimately. But I mean, that show, I think it's pretty fair to say that it's all for show, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But have you found anything on that? I'm going to read some stories that everybody shared with me. I sent out a little message here, and we did not get a lot of response to that, actually. I thought we were going to get more people, but my buddy Daniel White shared an experience, and I'm pretty surprised. I did not read it, so this will be my first time reading this. And Daniel and I, we've been talking for many, many years. He probably has the closest taste to me in film, and he is also a very, very rational, intelligent person.
Oh, okay. So this could be somebody that's that like.
So he said, one experience in my life puts me in the yes category. I've never been religious, and I was an annoying, staunch atheist, non-believer in such things when I had to make the switch. That said, I think the vast majority of ghostly encounters can be explained. I agree. So I asked him to elaborate. And this is, as I said, my first time reading this, and I've been waiting. I think he posted this 3 days ago, and he probably thinks I'm a dick because I never responded to it because I'd never read it, Daniel, because I was waiting to do it on this show. And this is kind of what sparked this idea of even doing this in the first place. So Daniel writes, when I was around 20, my ex-stepdad, Bob, died. Massive heart attack at home. Dead by the time the paramedics arrived. He'd had a pretty bad one a few weeks prior. Doc said he'd definitely need a transplant at some point, but could go home. But that transplant didn't come soon enough. According to one of my ex's brothers, he was definitely aware he was going to die on the day he finally did. The mom was absolutely fucking wrecked throughout all of this, and me and the ex were, I hate to put it like this, but if I'm being honest with how I felt at the time, saddled with consoling her while her brothers just stayed out of the house. So every night I'd be stuck there with my ex and her hysterical mom trying to find something light to watch on TV. Real fun at 20. One night, her mom passed out in the easy chair, myself and ex sitting on the couch. We were watching some bullshit comedy, and I really just wanted to leave. We are the only ones in the house, and I suddenly catch some movement from the hallway in the corner of my eye. I first thought that was that someone had broken in, but the idea was destroyed immediately. Into the dining room silently floated, into the dining room silently float. I think he meant floated. Walked some sort of thing, vaguely the size and shape of a man, made of what I can only describe as something between smoke and TV static. and only about 10 feet away from me at most. I was absolutely paralyzed with fear and literally could not move. It was the only time I've ever felt that in my life. This thing was moving slow, like walking in slow motion. And after what felt like forever, but it was probably really only 8 seconds, I was able to tap the X on the leg and ask if she saw it too. She did. We both just sat there and watched as it moved out of the dining room and into the kitchen, which was obscured from view. It felt like a long event, but again, in reality, it was probably a minute tops. I checked the kitchen a bit after once I gathered the courage and couldn't find anything. We never saw it again. That's my story. Didn't believe it. Didn't believe in a damn thing at the time. Didn't do drugs. Had never hallucinated. Had I seen it myself, had I not seen it myself, I was thinking is what he meant. I absolutely would have thought I'd gone completely insane, but I did see it myself. Anyway, I always feel some hesitation telling that because it sounds like total bullshit to me, but it is the truth. And ever since then, I've become okay with the idea that I don't know all. So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
so you're telling a story from some rando online who's telling whatever.
Yeah.
So Daniel is as I said, I've been talking to Daniel forever.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel is never, I mean, this is shocking coming from him. Because of what I know of him, because of the years that we've spoken and everything, he's an insanely rational, sane person who is extremely logical, very scientific based, has no religious beliefs, would never tell a bullshit story just to sound cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. That's pretty interesting. For him to say that would be like me saying it.
Right.
And so you definitely want to listen when somebody like that says something like that. So
well, I mean, and that's just it though, is that like, you know, everybody might, not everybody, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of these people that you see online talking about their paranormal experiences, you know, to somebody in their life, they could be that person, right? The skeptic who has that experience that it's like, gosh, if this happened to them, like I believe that they had an unexplainable thing, you know? So, but I get it though, whenever you hear it from somebody that's a total stranger, it's so easy to just kind of brush it off and explain it away because you're not there. And that's the other thing, is that whenever you do have an unexplainable experience, like, you know what you can explain and how things make you feel. And the feeling, I think, is something that is, you know, it's unique and it's hard to describe to other people. You can get close to it, obviously, but it can be difficult. So
Combat King says, I just feel like of the millions of people throughout time, including myself, that experience paranormal happenings, can't all be lying or crazy.
I agree. I think that's a good way to look at it too. Like, I think that there's a good amount of people who are charlatans and who are lying and who are crazy, but I don't think that everybody is. You know, it's just, it's so improbable that absolutely everyone would have bad intentions or would be so unstable mentally that had these experiences. Because, I mean, we're talking like for all of human history, there has been paranormal happenings, you know?
Sure, but on the flip side of that, to you know, be the devil's advocate to that, you know, there's billions of people on this planet who believe in Islam and you know, the Muslim religion. So does that make it true?
Yeah.
Because billions of people believe it to be true?
No, it's not the matter of making it true.
They 100% believe it.
Yeah.
And they think that, you know, they have evidence, right? And there's millions of people who are Christians, and throughout time, especially, you know, during the Crusades or any of those things, right? You definitely had people who were like in the thousands, if not millions, that were, you know, saying they absolutely saw this or heard this or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think that it's an interesting point, but I don't think it's an extremely, you know, end all be all point, because there's so many things that people believe. There's cases of mass hysteria,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Where that school that the with the gas,
Yeah.
right? And everybody got sick, and there was never anything to be proved. So I don't
or
know.
even like dancing illnesses and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna let you know what I
think God
found.
proves himself through prophecy. I don't know what that means.
So Bobby Mackey's Haunted History. So this is a bar in Wilder, Kentucky.
Sure.
And it is infamous for its gateway to hell. So it's another portal story, which fits with the theme for tonight.
The very gates of hell,
yes,
are down that road.
So the
last exorcism. Sorry.
The slaughterhouse. On the same site in 1850, a large slaughterhouse and meatpacking facility was constructed to serve northwestern Kentucky and nearby Cincinnati, Ohio. In the lowest part of the building, a well was dug and used to hold the blood, guts, and waste from the slaughtered animals. Some researchers have speculated that after the slaughterhouse closed in the 1890s, satanic cult activity took place in the building around the well. Animals and possibly humans were being slaughtered here for ritualistic purposes during secret meetings.
Is this where they built Sunnydale?
Right. Headless Pearl Bryan. In 1896, the murder of 22-year-old Pearl Bryan, a small-town girl from Greencastle, Indiana, made headlines in the region. Pearl's headless corpse was discovered in a field less than 2 miles from the slaughterhouse. She was pregnant. Yeah, right. She was pregnant, and her boyfriend, Scott Jackson, a student at the Ohio College of Dental Surgery, urged her to come to Cincinnati where he could arrange an abortion. Jackson and his roommate, Alonzo Walling, attempted the abortion themselves, but something went horribly wrong. To cover their tracks, they put Pearl's body in an empty field and surgically removed her head so that her body couldn't be identified. They would have gotten away with the cover-up if they hadn't left Pearl's shoes on her feet. While at the gallows waiting to die, Alonzo Walling vowed to haunt the area forever. Her severed head was never discovered, and then some people apparently speculate that Jackson had ties to a satanic cult. So yeah, there's like a lot of stories with this place, which it's cool. The portal or the gateway to hell kind of thing. I think there's a lot of places in the world that try and hold that title. You know, it's a common one whenever there's a lot of bad things happening in a spot. But what I think of is really interesting, and why I wanted to talk about the portal stories from Ron Quinn, is that I don't know if this has ever happened to you, because I know you don't do a lot of hiking. And maybe this is just an experience of being out in nature. But there has definitely been times when I've been in an isolated area in the woods hiking, and something feels really weird. It's like the high strangeness. Like, I haven't seen any portals. I haven't walked through any or anything. But there's just areas that I've been in where it's like the hairs on the back of your neck. Things feel odd and out of place. And it just is, I don't know if it's just the isolation of being in nature, which I could definitely see, but it's odd that it happens in some places and not all the time. Because there's other times where I am out in nature, isolated, and I don't get that feeling. And
because you're disconnected from, the amount of, people that are around, right? So there's a lot of not energy, but there's a lot going on around you, a lot of stimulation.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're out in nature, it becomes foreign because you're around people so much that the isolation does start to play tricks on you, because you're not used to that level of quietness, right? And a feeling of isolation and loneliness. So you can definitely start to, that's cabin fever, right? Like your brain does start to play tricks on you.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying that it isn't true.
No.
I just think that is the most logical explanation.
Yeah. I agree for sure. But it's funny because like I've talked to you about like the missing 411 stuff with how many people go and go missing and the disappearances in national forests. And obviously there's lots of logical explanations and rational reasons why people would go missing out in the wilderness.
Sure.
You know, you can list them. But there's, you know, stories like this and even like urban legends, like ideas, the staircase in the woods, if you've heard about that. And I just think that it's really interesting that there could be these pockets on the planet that either take you to a slightly different time, like that they can alter time, like Ron Quinn is speculating of this area, or another dimension, or, you know, whatever. And I just think that that idea is so interesting. And I don't have any proof of it, but I have a NASA funded researcher who I had to print this one out just because I don't know, it made me feel like I was more put together. But this is a NASA sponsored researcher at the University of Iowa who has developed a way for spacecraft to hunt down hidden magnetic portals in the vicinity of Earth. So this is what he says of them. So there are these X points around the planet where electron diffusion regions are. And basically, it's an area where the magnetic field of the Earth lines up with the magnetic field of the sun. So it creates this like uninterrupted pathway from our planet to the sun's atmosphere 93 million miles away. But this is, it says that they typically occur a few tens of thousands of kilometers from Earth, where the geomagnetic field meets the onrushing solar wind. So, you know, obviously that's higher up in the atmosphere, clearly. But the guy, you know, he talks about how that there's these magnetic portals are open dozens of times every day, and some of them are larger and smaller. And he was coming up with a way to find these X points and to kind of track them around the planet. So I just thought that that was really interesting because I know that there's been studies with like our humans' reactions to magnets, essentially. Like you can have a paranormal experience around weird magnetic stuff, you know?
Is the Bermuda Triangle part of this?
I don't know, but that would be cool.
Or the,
that would be really cool.
Vortexes in Sedona.
Well, that's what I was thinking of too, because that's a huge thing where we are.
We're being asked about the Haunted Museum in Vegas. Zach Bagans.
I want to go. We have not been.
Said the Robert the Doll is there. I own all the Robert the Doll movies.
I thought Robert the Doll was in Florida. He's at the one in Vegas. That's really cool.
Maybe she just meant she wanted to see that as well.
Oh, I would love to see that. I haven't seen any of the Robert the Doll movies.
Yeah. I showed you some. No, I didn't.
No, we didn't watch any.
All right, let's see. Zach Holt. Zach, are you still here with us? And hello, Ricardo. What's going on? Zach, if you're still here, I got your story. Zach says, all right, I will just post the ones I had in the home I grew up in. While trying to fall asleep, I used to hear murmuring voices as if people were far away. That was your parents having sex. And I couldn't make out any words, but was able to understand it was a group of people talking. That was your parents having an orgy. I would also hear what sounded like a woman singing. Yeah, that adds up.
Oh my goodness.
Your dad's really good at what he does. Again, I could not understand it, but it sounded very sorrowful. Oh, never mind. Dad sucks at what he does. As if she was experiencing massive grief. All right, enough of the orgy jokes. Yeah. One night I was in bed and in that floating state where I wasn't fully asleep, but also wasn't really conscious. Here's how all bullshit stories start. I was not really dreaming, but I was kind of. Well,
I will try and refute that when you're done.
Suddenly, I involuntarily sat up as something, I don't know what, pulled me fully awake. A figure stood in my mirror. That's you. When you see somebody in the mirror,
I think he means another figure.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Like not him.
It as I could not be sure of a gender, appeared very dirty, almost like its skin was rusted. I could make out the shape of its head, but could not see any facial features as its hair obscured its face. That's some J horror shit there. That's some Samara. Um, the hair was a nasty, almost puke-like, dirty orange, and only what can be described as sickle-shaped dreads. It all looked decrepit. It just stood in one place, slowly nodding its head up and down until it vanished. I was too terrified to move, but do not believe it was sleep paralysis, as I was able to move when my body jerked up when whatever I sensed woke me. This was several years before the phenomenon of sleep paralysis became well known. Okay. I mean, I probably see that as you were dreaming, but we'll see. We'll see. Like, I'm going to have some answer. No, we're not going to see.
He's going to say that.
I'm just saying. Zach's here. Good. All right. Another day, I awoke and could not get any of the landline phones to work in order to call a friend to see if he wanted to hang out. Upon finally finding the cordless receiver off the hook in a place I had checked several times, I hung it up and heard something walking around in my basement. It sounded too big to be my cat or another animal. Fearing somebody... wait, where was I? Fearing someone had broken in, I grabbed a knife from the kitchen and started down there. At the top of the stairs, I pulled the string to turn on the light illuminating the stairway so that I could see to the bottom of the stairs. Beyond that was still dark. That's when I heard something charging up the stairs at me. Well, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I could hear each pounding footstep hit each stair, but could not see anyone. I fled the house. The man in my mirror terrified me, but this was the only time I ever really felt threatened. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be scary. The last experience of note was shortly before I moved out. I was trying to fall asleep, yet again, the sleep, when someone started to pull my covers off of me. I would pull them back up. This happened a few times until a voice whispered into my ear, "Hello." By this point, I was so used to the bizarre activity that I was more annoyed than scared and told it to go away. After that, it stopped. Well, there you go, guys. Just
tell it to go away. Well, yeah, you gotta
go away and never come back. Some Smeagol stuff.
Oh, man.
I am seeing Smile tomorrow, but think I should be able to get home in time for the live stream. Well, it looks like you made it in time.
Yay.
There you go.
Wonderful.
Paranormal story sounds like an idea that should be fun. Well, you guys tell me.
So a lot of stories, a lot of people have things that happen on the edge of sleep, waking or falling, right?
Yes.
But I think that a lot of them could be you're in a hypnagogic state, you are kind of dreaming with your eyes awake. All of that's very possible. But there's also the idea that like you need to be in an altered state of consciousness to have certain experiences.
Sure.
And people kind of have like speculated and hypothesized that like the veil could be thinner, right, when we're in those states of near sleep, so that maybe you could be seeing into the spirit world.
Ricardo says he doesn't believe it's houses that get haunted, but the land. So
the land.
You knock down the house and they're still just floating around out there in the same area. Kaylee, do you believe in astrological projection? That's some Doctor Strange stuff.
An astral projection, yeah, I do. I can't say that I've ever had the experience where I felt like I astral projected or anything, but I have had some kind of shared dream experiences with my sister, which I always think is interesting, where we're, and again, it could be explained like we're just really close, but we'll have dreams about each other when we're miles away, you know, across the country, and wake up the next day and talk and say, you were in my dream, and, you know, kind of find that we were both dreaming about the other when we haven't spoken before that, or, you know, there's no clear reason why we would be on each other's minds aside from the fact that we just love each other and, you know, care about each other. But yeah, I think astral projection could totally exist. I think people I've read a lot of accounts of people who astral project, and especially people who have lucid dreams, and I think that there's some similarities between those experiences. So
I mean, I can tell you guys that Kaylee hears me ask project all the time. Just all the time.
All the time.
Way too often.
Just all the time.
It's like a never-ending projection of ass.
Mm-hmm.
True story. So yeah, I think there was one more in here. Oh, we got another one late. Sigatoni?
Sigatoni?
An old buddy of mine died this summer. Well, that's sad to hear. The day after the funeral, I was going to a kebab place to eat, but accidentally took the wrong bus. I've been taking the bus for 15 years, and there's no way I should have made this mistake. I got out of the bus by a burger place and decided to eat there. As I was eating, I realized that I was next door to the place where I met him for the first time. Not a ghost story per se, but felt freaky. So you think he put you on the wrong bus? Or what is that? Just a coincidence, happenstance?
Synchronicity.
Yeah. Ray says, I actually have a ton of ghost stories, but one that was the most real and intense was when I was working on a horror film and we were filming in a closed down for some months Masonic old folks home. Driving up looked like a set of The Shining. Some of the grammar here sometimes with people, it does make me stutter over my words, so I apologize. I always do try to fill in grammatical errors if I can see them beforehand, but sometimes I can't. We filmed for some days there, and well, apparently there was a resident ghost who had died there and haunted the place and would say your name and all kinds of stuff and liked to do things. So I was going to the bathroom once and about to open the door, and this loud voice said, boo.
It said boo?
It said boo. Was it wearing a sheet?
He's just
Maybe
scared.
there's somebody in the stall next to her. It was poo.
What? You don't
poo. No.
Nobody says that.
I do.
No.
I will now.
I listen. You don't. I'm at the door. I'm like,
yeah, I bet. I see your fingers under the door.
I do that
child.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
Like screaming in my ear, and literally ran screaming to the security guard, and he laughed, saying he liked to do that. And a girl came out of the bathroom too, saying she felt chills and being watched. The security guard said he liked to do that?
The ghost liked to do that.
Oh,
saying like, they like to do.
The security guard likes to go into the girl's bathroom and be like, boo. And they're like, you're going to jail.
No. The ghosts like to do that.
Also, things on set were moved around and disappeared. That's because people were stealing shit. The kicker was when I was going into the kitchen and it had huge double wooden doors and the security guard was next to me. This fucking security guard again, man. This guy is suspect.
He's sus. High key.
Yeah. Was next to me, and across the room was a loud bang, and the doors swang open, and no one was there, and a huge wind gush came through, and the security guy goes, there goes George. He said he loved to do that stuff. Oh, and when we were filming a big scene on the Masonic Theater stage, literally we We all heard what sounded like a gigantic amount of pots and pans clamoring down from the sky, and there was nothing there. So yeah, probably most physical and verified ghost story. Verified!
By him and all the people on set.
Yep.
Yeah. See,
Yep.
that's the thing, right? Like, if you were there, you would have been like, freaking George wouldn't let me poop in peace.
Who?
That's interesting, though. It's cool when
George is just encouraging people to go to the bathroom.
It's like,
he's like moaning Myrtle.
moaning George.
Yeah, so that's I think all the stories. We didn't get a lot. You guys suck. You guys are the worst freaking fans ever.
No, it's okay. People maybe they don't have ghost stories, and you can obviously share any stories that you have here that you might want to talk about, but we just wanted to see if y'all were interested in this kind of a live stream, because we're trying to kind of keep things organized and have a plan.
Cecil again.
Hello.
Cecil, we plugged your short, your Dylan's New Nightmare. We talked all about it for a couple of minutes. So there you go. Everyone look out for Dylan's New Nightmare coming 2023. So yeah, as Kaylee was saying.
Yeah.
As I interrupted her.
Oh no.
Say hi to Cecil.
Hello.
Thank you. There might be more for you with that than you thought. Oh, wow. We're trying to make it work. Kaylee's more trying to make it work for me. She's like on a mission.
I'm
like,
his
we
manager.
We can do this and we can do that. And I'm like, damn.
100%. Yeah, I should be the one that's coordinating, really. You should email me, because I'm in charge of his schedule, like both at work and at home, pretty much.
She says so. How did we meet? We met right here on this channel.
Yeah, we did.
She just faded into the room.
I was like,
and she was like, poo. Yeah.
I didn't say poo.
She was a subscriber of the channel, and she followed me on Instagram.
On Insta.
And I was like, yo, what up?
Yeah,
and
pretty
she
much.
was like, me.
And soon to be you. Yeah, that's it.
Thereafter.
And our wedding is coming up.
Yep, we are getting married about 1 month from today.
Yeah.
On Halloween. Can you believe it?
Shocker.
We got engaged in front of the Myers house.
Yeah.
In Pasadena. And now we're getting married on Halloween. Almost like we like horror.
Almost. Wow.
Unfortunately, I work most Fridays and can't join the watch parties, but have you considered using memberships on YouTube? It might be easier for some than Patreon. We haven't.
But we can consider that.
We will look into it. I don't know what that does exactly.
Yeah.
You pay for a membership that's free?
Well, I
think you get added perks or something? I mean, really all we're doing is the watch parties, but
yeah, that's all we have right now. I mean, we might be able to do other things in the future, but
nudies.
Probably not that.
Butthole pictures.
Probably not that.
Just from me.
But yeah, we can definitely look into memberships and see if that's something that would be what we'd want to offer, for sure. So yeah. So you guys have any creepy stories that you want to talk about? Do you think portals could exist? Oh, this is something else I learned about portals, because I was like, how are portals formed? What is a portal? Is it like the game? The cake is a lie.
Yeah.
And I kept finding, which I thought was cool, these ideas that if you put two mirrors facing each other, that creates a spirit portal of some kind. There's a lot of like bad vibes around mirrors, and I'm not the only one that's terrified of mirrors. I find them so creepy, and I've always thought that like my entire life. And there's like all these stories about like covering the mirror in, like Victorian times when somebody would die, they would cover the mirrors in the house because the idea was that the spirit could get trapped in them. And I just think that that's really fascinating and weird. So
yeah. So yeah, Ricardo says that he has a ghost story from his childhood. Well, let us know, and we'll talk about it on the next live stream. Everybody, come up with your ghost story, and we'll discuss it on the channel next time. And make sure you're there, same time in 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Right? Or are we gonna be in?
Oh, actually, we won't, but we might do a special live stream because we will probably be in California, not this upcoming week, but the week after.
Right.
We're going to be going to Halloween Horror Nights, and
That's on Thursday.
That's on Thursday, but
And then we're
Friday.
driving home Friday, right?
Yeah, we might be driving home Friday, but if not, maybe we could. I don't know. Maybe we can do some kind of special live stream at a location somewhere in California.
Yeah, well, we have to leave pretty early to be able to get home, so
yeah.
I don't know.
We also have Saturday too.
Well, I guess we could stay another day because we don't pick up the girls till Saturday. But am I working on Saturday? I hope not. I was gonna say.
See, I'm the scheduler.
Yeah,
I got everything figured out.
I can't drive all the way home and then back to get the girls. That
No,
would be stupid. So yeah, maybe look forward to a live stream from California. Is there any places we should go in California and do a live stream from and die live right here? Prove paranormal activity.
Real proof, live proof. Paranormal.
Live
girl
proof.
Gets killed. Man watches and laughs.
Just like you see something, and I'm like, oh, right out of the camera. That'd be pretty good. Pretty cool. It'd be like that episode of Tales from the Crypt where he does it live, or that Ghost Watch. Yeah. Or Winchester. Yeah, Winchester's a little far.
Winchester.
That's pretty far. But yeah, if we could get there, oh man.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd let us do a live stream there though.
IDK, how often I'd be able to attend these streams considering you do it when I'm usually asleep. I'm sorry.
Boo.
This is like the good time for us. But thank you for trying to attend them, and you can always watch after.
You can watch the replay.
We watch we look at all the comments and whatnot for people that don't get to comment live. So.
Well, guys, I think that's about it for tonight. We've been on for about an hour and a half. We are currently recording our top 10 lesser known found footage films part 2. That video is old and we need a new one, exploring all the found footage films we watched over the last freaking month. We watched a ton of them, and we're going to tell you which ones were our favorites, in addition to some other titles that we think don't get talked about enough and are not on that previous list of top 10 lesser known found footage films. So
yeah,
you have that to look forward to, and tons of other videos. As always, we're always watching shit.
Always.
We'll have plenty of reviews coming your way, and I appreciate everyone who joined us. We stayed with around 20 some people, and I feel like those 20 people were pretty much the ones that were from beginning to end. So
thank you guys.
Thank you guys for joining us, and let us know what you think about this. If you had a good time, we definitely want to try to find other stories to talk about.
Yes,
this is more of like a podcast style of live stream, and we always love interacting with you guys in the comments, so thank you for commenting and hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you.
I had a good time.
I did too.
I was laughing and I really was enjoying it, so hopefully you guys did as well, but we didn't get the typical numbers. I don't think people care about this as much. We usually get into the 50s, and this never broke 25, I think was the most we ever had. So maybe people aren't as interested in this as we had hoped, but you guys seem to care. So hey, Danny Sijian's in here. He is the director and writer of the movie we just watched. The Goya
Goetia
Diaries. Goetia, is that? Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Goya, what's Goya?
I don't know.
Something completely different.
Like the artist Goya?
Is that is that the somebody that I used to know? Or is that something else? I don't know.
Like Saturn devouring his children. Isn't that a Goya?
Yeah. But Danny has a new found footage film coming out. You can buy it from him currently on his website. We're going to be doing a review of it probably tonight at some point, and we'll bring you our thoughts. But if you're into the occult, it's definitely a film that he did a lot of research on to bring a very realistic
Mhm.
approach and information to people who study the occult. So
Yeah.
good on him for that, and good on him for making a movie, because we still haven't. And to answer somebody's question that asked earlier, we are considering doing a film still. We still will at some point. And watching stuff like Danny's movie definitely always encourages us to get
Yeah.
off of our asses, but not enough to actually do it, I guess. And that's
It's
probably
very
mostly because of me.
inspiring. Not necessarily.
Yeah. So congrats, Danny,
Mhm.
on making. Yeah, you do. But the Goetia, what was it?
Goetia.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
Goetia Diaries.
Mhm.
Yep. So a new found footage film coming soon. We'll tell you all about it in some reviews. So other than that, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you in a live stream next week. If you're a patron, we just got a new patron right now from
Woo!
Iron Metallica. Yes, we were invited to a Terrifier 2 screener, but we saw it. We have seen Terrifier 2.
Yes.
We saw it like over a week ago.
Yeah.
And we are not allowed to discuss anything about it until October 3rd. So we probably will review that maybe tonight. And you guys will see our thoughts at midnight on October 3rd, as soon as we're allowed to discuss it. So we literally can't say a single word, even though there's like 50 freaking reviews out there for the movie right now. I'm going to actually stick to the embargo that they put on me. And I specifically asked if I could say anything, and they said no.
Mum's the word.
But that's that. So
Yeah.
you'll get our full thoughts on that soon enough. Anyway, guys, good night, and ghosts aren't real.